In this video, I will show you how to harvest your mushrooms correctly. Basically, you just pluck them off, but there is details to everything. So if you did everything right and you follow the steps, you should have these results right here. This should be your bin, this beautiful mushrooms. This is B+ strain. And at the bottom is like old t-shirt, wetted, and a couple of old t-shirts. All right. To harvest your mushrooms, I recommend using gloves from like CVS or any drugstore you can find. Put your gloves on because, again, if it's a first flush, you don't want to introduce some mold or bacteria on your fingers. And even though the mycelium right now, it's not very susceptible, it's not very sensitive, it's pretty strong, still, you don't want to introduce unnecessary stress to the mushrooms. So, basically, all you have to do is to pluck the mushroom right off the cake. And there you go. If you have a little bit of vermiculite on the bottom, sometimes you can just scrape it off. And to dry your mushrooms, let me say when to harvest them. When this tissue is broken off the edge of the mushroom, this is when they are at the perfect ripeness. If you wait longer, the mushroom is gonna start to drop spores. You see this dark thing? It's just starting, so it's just a little bit, but the entire mushroom will be like deep black purple. And it's not gonna look, it's still good, but it's not gonna look as attractive as this perfect, beautiful smell. Oh my God, smell that. So good. I love the smell of the mushrooms. Some people say, they taste nasty, they smell nasty. To me, I think they taste and smell beautiful. So, love your mushroom. And to dry them, all you have to do is to, paper towel. Use paper towel, right? So you, for example, have a tabletop. I'll show you here. It's super, super easy. Right? So you have your tabletop ready. You can put some paper towels and lay the mushrooms separate from each other. This one I harvested a little bit earlier. I'll show you. So you lay them so they don't really touch each other, so they can dry easily. Just the air dry. I don't like to use dehydrators or anything that heats them up, because some part of psilocybin will be destroyed. And they're very sensitive chemicals, so I don't want to ruin the potency of the mushroom. However, because I didn't know that when I started, so I bought this cheap dehydrator, which is like $50, but you don't need it, you know. And now I use only the racks because they have a nice, holes. I just put the paper towel on top of the rack like this, and it just creates extra airflow from the bottom of it, but you don't really need it. Just put them on your table where it's maybe sunlight heat. Sunlight, by the way, if it hits the mushrooms, they create more vitamin D. So if you dry them on sun, then you will have also very healing properties. They make like 700 times more vitamin D in themselves when they're dry, being exposed to the sunlight. This is what Paul Stamets says. So, okay, I mean, he's an expert. He's tested everything many times. Another point on fruiting, when you put the cakes in a bin, I like to break them down. You see how they're broken pieces? Because disturbing mycelium will help it to grow, to fruit faster. So I, crumble it a little bit and put it in little piles like this, so it becomes like one bed, and they are doing really, really well right now. Each mycelium cake can produce 2 or 3 flashes, but sometimes the time between the flashes is not so clear. It just the cakes keep producing them. Like for example, here you can see that couple of one we already harvested. There is a bigger one, there is a tiny little one, so they keep producing until you will see that mycelium start to get really dry, it starts to die out, and at that point you can usually see mold moving in. If the mycelium gets very old, it becomes weak, its immune system gets weaker, just like people, and the mold and bacteria, usually mold, moves in and basically takes over the cake, finishing the psilocybin mycelium off. At this point, I wouldn't wait until your cakes start to get moldy. When you see them getting really dry and bluish, then just gently put them outside and say a prayer and say thank you very much for your beautiful fruits that will illuminate the consciousness of people and help the spiritual growth and awakening of this planet. So I pay lots of respect to the mycelium that produced this beautiful gift for us, for people. If you keep moisture pretty high, then the cakes will definitely give you a couple of flashes. But if you don't forget to spray them, they might dry faster and you will get less results. So basically, if you maintain your body really good, you will last longer, right? Be healthy and stronger longer. The same thing with mycelium. If you take good care of the body of the mycelium, it will produce more mushrooms for you and it will live longer. Okay? Just common sense. I love it. Now, after you discard of mycelium that's already dying or dead, I basically reuse the towels or the wet t-shirts here I reuse them. I just throw them in a washer with some bleach to make sure they get really nice and disinfected. And I keep reusing the same towels for years, man. Like, it's so sustainable. This method is so sustainable. It does not really waste resources. I used to put wet vermiculite on the bottom. It's messy. It creates lots of waste of vermiculite. To discard of it, if you have house, is okay, but if you live in an apartment, like, it's like just lots of wet vermiculite. It's really messy. But towels, very easy. You just wash them again, throw them in the dryer. They're perfect till the next time. Hair drying takes usually 3 to 4 days in a nice ventilated place. If you live in a very dry climate, it can be like Sedona. It probably will be much faster, but here in Florida, it takes sometimes 4 days for a mushroom to fully dry. Also, when you harvest them, don't squeeze them too hard because they turn dark blue. Psilocybin will break. It's just not, not so pretty. So be gentle with them. They're very delicate creatures. Okay. Another point is that from the time when mushrooms the cakes just be put in the bins, it takes usually a week to week and a half for them to start to create the primordia, the tiny little baby mushrooms. And from the baby to this size, it'll take probably like a couple of days, 2-3 days, and to full maturity it might take like 4-5 days. So you need to be present for that time of fruiting and spray them twice a day with spray bottle. Oh, this one started to grow a little bit of seaweed inside, which is okay. Spray the cakes, but don't spray the mushrooms, because mushrooms, they can get too wet and can start rotting. So you don't want to damage. Be very gentle with the mushrooms, okay? Make sure you ventilate them really good at that time. So my beans, when mushrooms begin to fruit, as I mentioned before, I want to mention one more time, you leave a little crack here so they can breathe, or make bigger holes or more holes on the sides of your bean. Oh, this tripod is catching. On the sides of your bean, as you can see, I have like little holes here. You can make bigger holes, you can drill them. If you have pets, like a cat, or like especially cats, because cats love to go to the beans, and you want to make sure that they don't get in the bean and start peeing there. Cats are very smart. They can start, and they're very curious. They can open this and go inside of the bin. Then you just keep it closed like this, so it's really tight, and just make bigger holes and more holes on the sides. And if you need to reduce airflow, all you have to do is to tape the holes, like half of them, so this way you can control the air exchange easily. You see how everything, like very basic technology, using like tape and basic beans, and it's very easy. You don't need any high-tech machinery to grow our brothers here in the beans, because they're actually very close to us in our physiology. Okay, very close to nature. All right, guys, if you have any questions about how to harvest your mushrooms, or about any part of the process, please contact me. You can call me on a Zoom or video call. You can show me your beans, and I will be happy to troubleshoot with you and guide you through the process. Okay, good luck and have fun.